Hey Shakers, and welcome to Worth Your Salt, the podcast that shakes up your marketing game in the health and wellness industry. Worth Your Salt is brought to you every Thursday by Salt Marketing. Salt Marketing helps health and wellness practitioners build trust and authority to attract a steady stream of inbound wellness seekers. For more information, you can visit us online at saltmarketing.co. I'm Jennifer Oraquah, StoryBrand Certified Guide and Marketing Strategist with Salt Marketing, and your host for today's episode of Worth Your Salt. Now, when it comes to building a website for your health and wellness business, it seems like there are two choices. The low-cost options that can trap you in an inflexible platform that you know you'll eventually outgrow, or investing in custom design that can bring hidden costs and unexpected challenges. So with either option, most companies are also in need of marketing support for copy, graphic design, and most important of all, conversion. But today, there is a brand new option on the market for companies that fall into a sweet spot right between those two options. This new builder not only makes it easy to build and maintain your own site, but it also walks you through 4 essential considerations to ensure your visitors convert. I'm so excited today to be talking with my good friend, Vivian Wagner, who is not only CEO of the very successful Houndstooth Media Group, but has now developed this new WebWiskee builder for WordPress to address this very specific need in the marketplace. Vivian, thank you so much for joining me today on Worth Your Salt.
My pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
So I want to start by talking about what inspired you to develop WebWiskee. This began with a very real need from your clients at Houndstooth, right? I mean, tell me a little bit about what they and you were experiencing.
Absolutely. It's interesting because I started out looking at it from an agency perspective and having clients come to us and going, wow, they're really in trouble. How do we as an agency untangle them from this mess that they've gotten themselves into? And over the years, seeing different variations of the mess, that really helped us go, there's a need in the marketplace. And here's what the mess was. They would be coming to us after being on a do-it-yourself website builder like Wix or Squarespace or Weebly or, pick your builder. There's a million of them out there, right? And as their business was growing and they're ready to scale and move it to the next level, they found that, while that was a comfortable $50 a month price point for them, they now couldn't take their business to the next level. So it was inexpensive, but not very effective when it was time for growth. Or what would happen? So they'd stay there and stay stuck. Or what would happen is they're like, wow, well, I guess it's time to make the move to WordPress, which has kind of a learning curve for most people. WordPress is not easy to just jump in and get started. And they would come to an agency like Houndstooth Media Group, and they would want a custom site, and they'd get sticker shock because they're used to paying $50 a month, and we tell them it's starting at thousands of dollars. That was a rude awakening for them. And we kept thinking, my goodness, there has to be something in the middle.
And it wasn't just about the website itself, right? I mean, tell me about some of the other aspects that were frustrating people, the constraints that these builders had put on them.
Yeah. For example, when you want to leave Wix, you can absolutely forward your domain name. But did you know you can't take your content with you? There's no export of your content on Wix. You would have to hand copy and paste every single page individually, and then do a redirect individually for every single page. Very, very challenging, not efficient, none of that. But the biggest problem that we saw really came from other developers, quite honestly. We had a lot of clients come in the front door where they had been with a developer who kind of was holding them hostage. And what I mean by that is when they wanted to have a content update or build out a single new page or change a photo, it would take months for their developer to get back to them and be responsive. And so they're kind of over a barrel because they had these developers who just didn't care about keeping their website updated for them. We saw that all the time. And of course, there's amazing developers out there. Houndstooth's one of them.
Right.
We're going to take good care of you. But there's many developers out there where that just was not happening. And an additional problem we saw was people would be very proud of their custom coded website. My website is completely custom. What that means is you are now married to your developer. You guys are in bed together. And if things don't work out, how are you going to leave and take your website with you? How are you going to get in-house help for a custom coded site that really the developer that you started with is really the only one who knew their way around that website? Now you're kind of stuck. So those are the non-website, as far as do-it-yourself builder versus custom. That's what we saw.
Yeah, and we've all seen that. Developers, they're the only ones who know where all the bodies are buried. They're the only ones who can dig that up for you. So, but beyond that, you were seeing websites that might look pretty, but just weren't necessarily pulling their weight. Tell me a little bit about that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We're SEO experts, and basically, SEO will tie business owners in knots, and it doesn't need to be. At the end of the day, SEO boils down to, does Google know what you do and who you want to be working with? There's three things. Who are you? What do you do? Does Google know who your ideal customer is? If Google knows those things, your website's well positioned to show up in the search rankings. That's what SEO is at its basics, those simple concepts, because Google's a matchmaker. And the most frustrating thing for business owners is trying to get SEO help, but being so confused by it. And really, that's going to boil down to your copy, your messaging, the keywords that you're using, and addressing your ideal customers' pain points. What are they looking for, and how do you make sure you get found in those search results?
So when you added all this up, and I know plenty of our listeners can relate to a number of the things that you mentioned, what did you and your team think? How did you feel about this problem? How did you set out to solve it?
I don't know that we set out to solve it initially. I think we just kept complaining that this was happening to our clients. We kept complaining internally as a team, going, someone should do something. There should be a WordPress option that protects people, that is easy to use, that doesn't cost an arm and a leg, but is the quality that WordPress brings. And we kept saying, somebody should do it. Somebody should do it. And then one day we thought, why don't we do it? And that it's been a work in progress for 4 years, getting a non-page builder WordPress do-it-yourself website put together. 4 years in the making, but we're here now, and we are super excited to help a lot of people.
All right, Vivian, you and I need to take a quick sponsorship break right now. But when we return, I want to talk about how WebWiskee is not only solving these challenges, but helping small business owners get a website that genuinely sets their business up for success. Stay with us. We know you're here because you want to build and scale your wellness business by providing exceptional value. In order to do that, you've got to have a fully custom marketing plan that meets you where you are and brings clarity to your vision for the future. The problem is the sheer number of things you have to pay attention to can feel overwhelming, which makes you feel like you might never achieve your goals. At Salt Marketing, we believe that creating trust and authority shouldn't be an ongoing struggle. My name is Jennifer Oraqua, and as a StoryBrand certified guide, I can help you gain clarity by applying the StoryBrand framework to your growth strategy. Today, I'd love for you to get started with a marketing plan you can feel confident in. Head over to saltmarketing.co and take our 10-minute assessment. You'll get a free customized marketing plan that'll generate more revenue for your business. Visit us at saltmarketing.co to get your plan today. We're back here on the Worth Your Salt podcast with WebWiskee developer Vivian Wagner. Now, Vivian, you and I have known each other for years, so when you reached out to me about what you developed, you were so passionate about what it could do for our clients in health and wellness. Why do you feel so strongly about the potential of this platform?
Well, we really wanted to be able to give small business owners the technical support that they need, as well as some of the marketing and common sense website elements that they need. And we mentioned SEO earlier. We really wanted to be able to, help people grow their own economy, build their own economy. If they have a side hustle, we want to support that. If they have, a business that they've had for 5-10 years, we want to be able to get them to the next level, and providing solid tools that are at a fair price, that are easy to use and come, built in with support. That seemed like a really cool thing to be able to do for people.
And you chose to create the builder for WordPress. Why did you choose WordPress?
We use WordPress at the agency. We think it's the gold standard for website building. Because it's open source, there's so many new innovations that come along with it. People are constantly innovating, constantly creating new tools that work with WordPress. And because it's an open source platform, we talked a few minutes ago about the concept of developers holding people hostage, right? Because they've created some proprietary custom coded website. Most people know how to use WordPress, or can find someone who will know how to use WordPress. And so it gives you a lot of flexibility with regard to your team, with regard to who's working on your website, with regard to what you want to turn it into for the next iteration of your website that keeps up with your growing business. it's just the gold standard in our opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And if somebody's stuck on a do-it-yourself platform like Wix, maybe they'll move to Squarespace. You're just making lateral moves at that point, whereas WordPress is the next level. So why not start on the next level?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. All right, I want to get a little granular here. There are 3 very specific objectives from which the builder asks users to choose as they get started. Tell me a little bit about those options in WebWiskee.
There's something called analysis paralysis, right?
Mm-hmm.
When we are presented with so many options, they all start looking alike. Wix is very proud of the fact that they have more than 800 templates to choose from. Who's going to look at 800 templates
Right.
and pick one? Who has the time to do that? It's overwhelming and it's unnecessary. Really, what you want to do when you're building out a website, what you want to be focusing on is the customer journey. We have 3 basic templates, 3, not 800, 3. And they are based on a call to action because your website has a job to do, and that is convert a visitor to a customer or to perform whatever action that you want them to. Your website has to convert. And so when you boil it down, there are 3 objectives that every website has. You might have more than one, but there will always be a primary call to action that you want your visitors to take. You either want them to put something in their cart and directly purchase it from your website. You want them to book a call or an appointment with you, or you just want to build your email list. Those 3 things. And so it makes sense to have templates that are pre-designed to help people move down the page into the areas you want them to go to and perform the action that you want them to take. That's it.
Very nice. Thank you, Vivian. It's time for another quick break. We'll be right back after this. You're listening to the Worth Your Salt podcast, and today I'm talking with WebWiskee developer and Houndstooth Media CEO, Vivian Wagner, about how WebWiskee addresses your need for a flexible and comprehensive site development platform. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so be sure to join us over on Instagram, LinkedIn, or Facebook, and let us know how you're connecting with your target market. So, Vivian, how does WebWiskee help users identify their ideal client and craft that customer journey? This is something that we see clients struggle with, so I feel like it's one of the most vital aspects of a high-performing website.
Absolutely. I would say it's foundational to know what you want people to do once they get to your website. And so in the checkout process, we have them choose, what's the goal here? And we give you your template based on that. But I think one of the important differentiators that WebWiskee has, yes, we're built on WordPress. That's unusual, but it's not exclusive. But our differentiator that makes us special is called the WebWiskee Business Builder. And it is a built-in business and marketing coach that comes with a series of self-guided exercises and questions for you to answer about your business. We took our signature process that we take our custom website clients through at Houndstooth Media Group, and we turned it into this business builder. So people can go through and answer questions about their business. Who is your target audience? Who is your customer avatar? What are their pain points? What keeps them up at night? How does your company address it? What's special about your company? Those kinds of questions are all foundational. And knowing the answers to those questions, like the back of your hand, means that your branding and messaging fall into place. The keywords you want to be using to target those people so you show up in the search rankings where you want to. That all starts with those basic questions. And so the business builder walks people through that so that they're better positioned to build their website.
And you also shared with me about how WebWiskee helps develop that unique brand voice, the right tone and messaging. How does the platform address that highly individualized need?
By going through that business builder, there's several components to help you prepare your content and really get you thinking about your business. A lot of clients will, I'm in the insurance business. I sell insurance. Well, do you sell insurance or do you sell peace of mind? Mm-hmm. What is it that you're actually selling your customers? What are you selling to them? And being able to sort of hone in on that and target that in your copy, in your color palette, in your messaging, in the design elements that you choose, all of that plays together. And if you haven't, we call them thinking cap questions. if you have not put on your thinking cap and really thought about what makes you special and why people need to work with you versus your competition, you're doing yourself a disservice. And your website will never be as successful as it could be had you need to go through these questions, basically the plan.
And you mentioned earlier elements of SEO that play into WebWiskee. Tell me, how does WebWiskee help small businesses get found?
Well, definitely through helping you figure out the answers to these questions, but then understanding what it is your ideal customer avatars might be searching for. So it's not enough to, say for example, I'm a party and events planner. Okay, that's great. What about you? Where are you? Knowing your customers and knowing that they might search for things differently, how are you addressing those differences in your copy? So walking you through the concept of maybe your ideal customer is going to throw a birthday party for their child, and perhaps they are Googling inflatable castle, but maybe they also call it a bounce house or a jumper or, a bouncy house. You need to know what your ideal customer is looking for so that you can make sure to seed all of those keywords strategically throughout your copy, and then address other important elements of SEO that people sometimes forget about. Something as simple as image file names. Use keywords for those. Don't just name your photo DSC 123, because I guarantee you nobody's
searching for that. Right. Exactly. And I know you and I both hear a lot of clients saying that I'll just use AI to help craft the copy for my website. So let's talk about that a little bit. What are the dangers of that approach?
The dangers of that approach of just trusting AI to give you what you want means that you're only going to get what you want if you feed accurate information to AI in the prompt. So you've heard the phrase garbage in, garbage out. If you just say, write me a blog post, this many words about insurance, you're going to get a pretty boring, non-branded, just yucky blog post. You're going to get bad copy faster, right?
Right.
You have to answer those thinking cap questions because that informs the prompt that you give AI. You have to tell AI, this is who we are as a business. This is who we are trying to reach. This is what those customers' pain points are. Now write me a blog post about insurance for my RV and roadside assistance, and write it in the second person so that it's saying you, not we or they. And really get in there and granular with what you're telling AI. And then you can say, and from an SEO standpoint, give me a 160 character meta description with this focus keyword and disperse that keyword throughout the blog post that you can just get so detailed that you actually can use AI like the tool that it's meant to be. But, if you have a hammer and you just think everything's a nail, that's not going to be good for anything, right? But if you have a full tool set at your disposal, then you actually can make amazing things with AI. But if you're just swinging a hammer and you haven't done that preliminary work, that foundational work with those thinking cap questions, AI is not going to help you.
And you've just hired a really bad intern.
Pretty much.
And your pricing is incredibly cost effective, and it includes an e-commerce module. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Back to the other guys, we didn't like how it seemed they were in tiers. Things were in different tiers, and here's your basic level, and then the next level, and then the next level. Well, the next level might come with a whole bunch of stuff that you don't want or need, but it's bundled into that pricing. And so we kind of experimented with the ideas of having tiers, but it kept coming back to it's still going to wind up selling people things they don't actually need. And we didn't want to do that. So we wanted to be really strategic with our prices as far as what's the base price, and then you can add on extras as you need them. That was really intentional because nobody likes hidden website fees. Nobody likes thinking you're paying one price and then learning that there's more hidden charges there. So we wanted to basically let people cherry pick the features that they need, because not only is that fair pricing, in our opinion, it's kind of like that golden rule of the customer. That's how I would like to be treated as a consumer. But it really does lend itself to the concept of, we don't want to just have you build your website. We want you to build your business. As you build your business, you might find, I need to up level this tool or this feature. And then you can, but it matches your growth rate as a business. So that felt very fair to us.
Perfect. So if we want to get started with WebWiskee, I know you have a $1 trial happening right now, just $1 to try it out and poke at it and see how it works. What's the best way to get in touch with you and get started with that?
So if you go to WebWiskee.com, and it's WebWiskee.com, WebWiskee.com, you'll see little buttons all over the place. There's call to action, get started for $1. Create an account and start playing around. You've got 14 days. Just see what you think. So we have a ton of support to help you out. Real live people on the other end of that email and on the other end of that chat if you need help.
Yeah, very good. And of course, a link to the WebWiskee site and to Vivian's LinkedIn and the tools that we've talked about today will be over on our website at saltmarketing.co. But right now, Vivian, it is time for our lightning round questions. These are a few quick questions that I like to ask of every guest. Are you ready?
Sure.
All right. First question is, what is the best book you've read recently?
I have a book that I read probably every couple of years, and I absolutely love it. I found it as a child. It is an old book called The Egg and I. And I love it because it is the story of a woman who thought she was marrying a businessman, and who on their honeymoon informed her he wants to be a chicken farmer instead. And it like threw her for a loop. And she's got all of these funny sort of essay-like anecdotes that really teach you life's not going to go your way all the time. So how do you handle it with humor? I love it. I read it every couple of years.
What a great lesson. I love that. All right, next question. What's your favorite thing about the work that you do?
Helping business owners. Helping people save time, save money, get found by Google, and do it without spending a fortune. That's my very favorite thing.
Me too. I hear you. What's the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
The person who is nice to you but is rude to the waiter is not a nice person.
Yes, how you treat one person is how you treat everyone, right?
Exactly.
All right, last question. Who or what inspires you?
My mom inspires me. She is like a creative little fighter who is in her mid-80s, has beaten cancer, does it all with a joyful attitude. And her motto is, no one has more fun than me.
Amazing. Love that. Thanks for joining me for this week's episode of Worth Your Salt, Vivian.
Oh, it's my pleasure to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
I also want to thank our listeners and let you know that if you're ready for your Worth Your Salt debut, tell us about your expertise by emailing us at grow@saltmarketing.co. Be sure to subscribe at saltmarketing.co/worthyoursalt so you never miss an episode. And finally, leave us a review or give the show a handful of stars wherever you get your content. That's all for this episode of Worth Your Salt. We'll be back with a new episode next Thursday. In the meantime, let's get out there and shake things up.